Hi, I'm Barbara McRae, and welcome to Littleton Common. Have you been out in the garden or taking a walk? You need to get those muscles and bones working. I don't care what age you are. You're going to hear more about that on our show today, because we are going to talk about osteoporosis. This is Osteoporosis Month, folks. When did I ever think I would care? Now I do, and I hope I'm not too late. So don't laugh if you're very young. It can affect you too. If you don't have a garden to work in, then come and join the Littleton Country Gardeners. We will put you to work, and you'll surely work those muscles and bones into shape. The gardeners were busy in April getting all the town sites beautiful for spring. It took a lot of guessing when to do it because Ms. Mother Nature wasn't cooperating. But all is well, and we are looking forward to luscious gardens this year. If you're civics-minded and interested in becoming a member, please call Lynn Warren at 486-3648. Look for the Country Gardeners on the Common with their annual plant sale on Saturday, May 9th. It'll be 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. They'll have annuals, perennials, hanging baskets, and Mother's Day gifts. So don't forget Mother's Day, and that's on May 10th. Another way to keep in shape is to get to the beach. Long Lake is open, and Park and Rec is offering discount stickers to senior citizens at the cost of $37.50. Get your sticker and enjoy a swim. You can be civics-minded in other ways also, by helping the Hospice of Neshoba Nursing Service by knitting or crocheting lap blankets for patients. If anyone has yarn and they're not using it or never will use it, you can donate it to the Friends Thrift Shop, and we will give it to anyone who comes in and says they will knit lap blankets for this cause. Some of us do knit but can't get the yarn for one reason or another. So here is your chance to donate yarn or talent, and just drop it off and tell our salesperson what it's for. And speaking of donations, Loaves and Fishes is looking for food for their loan closet. I'm sure even one item from many people will help fill the need. We don't want anyone to feel hungry, especially on our watch. So call 978-772-4627 for more information. In case you haven't heard, there are new food stamps eligibility changes. The Department of Transitional Assistance has expanded the eligibility rules for food stamps. They've shortened the application to 2 pages, and that's good news. The seniors who were previously ineligible due to having more than $3,000 in assets may be eligible if their monthly income is low enough. So don't be shy. Call the Food Source Hotline at 1-800-645-8333 for more information. And also, if you're having problems paying your heating, light, or rent bills, call Tina Mater, our outreach coordinator, at 978-486-0183, because she may be able to assist you from the Henry Vincent Cooper Foundation Fund. Money from this fund was given to the Council on Aging to help needy citizens here in Littleton. Thank you, Vinny. Someday we must do a story on Vinny. He was such a great character. And speaking of characters, hi, Gail.
Hello, Barbara. For the month of May, here at the Senior Diner, we're going to have our birthday on May 13th. So anybody whose birthdays are in the month of May, please give me a call at the diner. And Minuteman Senior Services will gladly pay for your meal for the day, and we'll have a delicious cake that the COA provides. And the ladies' breakfast will be on May 14th, so that's for $2, so come on down for that. And the men's breakfast will be May 20th, so come down for that. And for my special dinner that I'm doing for the month of May will be on May 22nd, and I'll be making a chicken and broccoli Alfredo. And there'll be another dinner basket raffle to be given away, and we're looking for people who would love to donate to the basket. And like the deal is before, it costs $5 for the meal, and the only way you can win if you come here and eat here. So you only can sign for one ticket every time you eat here. You can't come in and sign 5 tickets and throw your name in. If you eat here 5 times in a row, then you put every day that you come in to eat. So we're looking for everyone to come down and join us.
Thanks. Our diner is such a friendly place, and Gail makes it so. But homebound seniors cannot come in and enjoy a lunch date with our lunch bunch. They do, however, enjoy a visit from the Meals on Wheels volunteers, even if it's just a moment, that moment that you deliver food and say a friendly hello. Please, we need volunteers for this very important service. You will deliver hot and cold lunchtime meals, and you receive support, training, and satisfaction in providing your time, and you get travel reimbursement too. So please consider this volunteer job the next time you wonder what you could do with your time. It doesn't take long to deliver, and you know someone appreciated you. There are also seniors who need to be driven to medical appointments, so think about your parent needing this service, or your spouse, a friend, or maybe even you someday. To find out more about this, call Carolyn Sloboda at 952-2362, or call Gail Dalton at the diner at 952-2757. And speaking of volunteering, it's not all work and no play. If you are a volunteer for the Council on Aging, then you are cordially invited to the annual Volunteer Recognition Luncheon on Tuesday, May 13th at noon. Excuse me, that is May 19th at noon. This is sponsored by the Littleton Council on Aging and the Friends of the Council on Aging. So please call 952-2362 by May 10th so we can save you a seat. April is a busy social month for our seniors. We had the Littleton Light Department annual luncheon and a nice surprise from the Deputy Sheriff's Association, a spaghetti supper. Both were enjoyed by all who attended. A big thank you to the Light Department and the Sheriff's Association. If you enjoy a nice meal, the neighborhood supper is for you. Every Tuesday night, volunteers from all the churches get together at the Congregational Church on King Street, and they give you a hot meal. There's no charge, so come on down. Bring a friend, or you can make a new one. If you have any news you'd like published in our senior broadcaster, please send it to Rosemary DeBacco at rojodebaco@verizon.net, or call our COA office at 952-2362. Rosemary, you're doing a great job, but you do need input now and then, so how about giving her a call or calling the Council on Aging? Let's go to Evan Thea and hear what's new at Indian Hill. Evan Thea?
Thanks, Barbara. Think May, think music, and that's what we've got plenty of here at Indian Hill Music. And to start things off, in May, we've got a chamber music duo over at the Kaleidoscope Gallery in Groton. We have Jenny Tang, a pianist, with John Holland, violinist, performing music of Schubert and Bach and Ravel and others. And that's at Kaleidoscope Gallery on May 2 at 8 p.m. And back here at Indian Hill, we have our monthly Family Pajama Jam, a free musical story hour for young families. And that takes place on Friday, May 8th at 6:30 p.m. For information about this and other events, it's 486-9524, or visit us at indianhillmusic.org. Coming up on Saturday, May 9th, we've got the Elliott Steger Jazz Trio. Dr. Steger is a physician in Acton, and he also is a pianist and jazz musician, and he'll be here on May 9th with his trio to perform a variety of originals and standards that you'll really enjoy. So check that out, Elliott Steger Jazz Trio on May 9. On May 15, here at Indian Hill, on Friday, we have a voice soiree where students here will be singing music related to the world of Shakespeare. So that's a free voice soiree on Friday, May 15th, and we do accept donations at that event. Our box lunch concert for May will have May 21 a woodwind faculty quartet, playing a variety of music. So that's May 21 for the Boxed Lunch, our free afternoon series. And summer music programs will be in full swing soon here at Indian Hill, and it's time to sign up. We have a whole bunch of programs for all ages, multi-week programs. You can find out about them at 486-9524. And if you have kids that are interested in musical theater, they'll be doing The Wizard of Oz this summer. And again, that's part of our summer musical program here at Indian Hill. Thanks.
Thank you. Tina Mater's Living Alone Support Group will meet on Thursday, May 21st at 10:30 a.m. in room 230. And that's here at the Council on Aging. But please call Tina and let her know you're coming. You might know someone who is living alone, so why don't you tell them to stop by? This has become a very enjoyable meeting. So call 486-0183. Get your blood pressure checked on Tuesday, May 12th, and that's from 11 to noon. Tamara Bedard from Neshoba Nursing will be at the senior diner during that time. And then later, there'll also be a podiatry clinic, and that's on Tuesday, June 2nd, from 8:30 to 10:30 a.m. The cost is $25, but you have to call 952-2362 to make your appointment. It looks as though the storage room for medical equipment is full. Savas Danos is the coordinator for this medical equipment loan program, and he has informed the Council on Aging that we will have to stop collecting until further notice. This is a great program, and if you ever need a wheelchair, a tub seat, or any such item, you can call 978-486-3104, and the Rotary will see that you get what you need. But right now, we are up to the rafters, so we will not be able to take any more equipment, but maybe at a later date we will. On Tuesday, May 26th, the Explorers Club is going to Tower Hill Botanic Garden. Admission to the garden is $7 for seniors. You're going to have lunch at the Twigs Cafe, and that's at your own cost. There is a gift shop, and you can go there and browse, or you can buy something, and that is May 26th. You'll leave Shattuck Street at 10:30 in the morning and return around 2:30 in the afternoon. But call Barbara Cam at 486-4360 and sign up. The next trip will be on June 11th, and that's to Fuller Gardens, Northampton. Sounds like, this is Northampton, New Hampshire, but it sounds like the Garden Club might be interested in this. They ought to check on it. That's going to be $57 per person. They leave Shattuck Street at 9:45, and they return at 5 o'clock in the evening. Pig's Fly Bakery in Kittery, Maine will be the first stop. Lunch at Warren's Restaurant later, and on to Fuller Gardens. View a Japanese garden, perennial borders, and American Rose Garden. And then I guess there's much, much more. Sounds really interesting. So sign up now, too, for Boston and the Tall Ships. That trip is on July 10th. Price is $65 per person. You will stop at the Prudential Center for lunch and shopping. Make sure you wear walking shoes. Then you'll go to the harbor for a 90-minute narrated cruise. This is a worthwhile trip, so if you've never seen the Tall Ships, or even if you have, go on this trip. And call Mary Eichler at 978-486-0725 or Carolyn Sloboda at 952-2362 for your reservation. For a nice day in Littleton, let's go to the New England Forestry Foundation and see what Lynn Lyford has for us. Hi, Lynn.
Thank you, Barbara, and I'm here today to tell you about two exciting events coming up at Priority Woods Community Forest here in Littleton. The first is a walk that is part of our series we call Community Forest Discovery Days. This is where New England Forestry hosts walks in our forests across New England. The first is here at Priority Woods, and it is in celebration of International Migratory Bird Day. International Migratory Bird Day was established in 1933 by the Smithsonian Migratory Bird Center and the Cornell Lab of Ornithology. The idea was to focus attention on the migration of birds. So what we're going to do is have a walk that starts at 7 a.m. on Saturday, May 9. Again, Saturday, May 9, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. in the morning with local expert birder Grant Marley. Grant's going to give a quick orientation and then take attendees on a walk through our woods. So bring your binoculars, a field guide if you have one, wear hiking boots, bring some water, and be prepared. Even if it's light rain, we're still going to have the walk and the talk. This program is open free to the public, so all can attend. We hope you do. Our second program is going to take place on Saturday, May 23rd. This is an all-day event, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., and it is part of a program called The Game of Logging. This is a series of training programs. The program we're going to offer is called Chainsaw Safety, and it will cover all aspects of chainsaw safety, including setup, safety, and felling plans. This is a course that's limited to 10 people, and there is a cost for this program. It is $125. Again, that's Saturday, May 23rd, 8 in the morning to 5 in the afternoon. Details for this and our bird walk are on the New England Forestry website. The address is www.newenglandforestry.org. We hope you'll attend. We'd love to see you out here at Prouty Woods. Spring is coming, so please join us. Thanks very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you. The Friends of the Council on Aging is still working on our emergency bags that we want to fill with information of interest to you. I'm getting things together, and we will soon be able to put them together and get them to as many seniors as possible, and hopefully that'll be all of you. We will keep you posted and let you know when to look for them. We welcome anyone who wishes to attend a Friends board meeting. Our next one being June 2nd at 2:30 in the Senior Diner. That's the first floor, Shattuck Street. And also, you're welcome to visit a Council on Aging board meeting. The next one, June 1st, and that's 2 o'clock, second floor, room 230. You know, the thrift shop is busy, busy, busy. There's lots of summer clothes. So come in and see us. We are never, never too busy for you. We really enjoy making the displays that will show you our latest merchandise. So take your time, look around, stay and chat with our volunteers. They enjoy the time with each and every one of you. And remember, if you're cleaning your closet, we will accept your donations. And the thrift shop is open 10 to 3 every Monday through Friday. Don't forget town meeting May 4th. Don't forget to vote for selectmen on May 9th. And really, don't forget Mother's Day on May 10th. And now here's a Memorial Day reminder from Alan McRae, your Veterans Agents.
Good afternoon. I'm Alan McRae, your Littleton's Veterans Agent, and I know it's quite a few days away yet, but I want to remind you that the Memorial Day Parade is coming up on Monday, the 25th of May, and I want everyone to be sure to come out and participate in the parade. If you're a veteran, we'd like you to march with us. If you have a uniform and would like to be a member of one of our color guards or the firing squad, we would love to have you. If you'd just like to march along, or if you don't think you could march that far but you'd like to ride with us, we'll get you a ride. You give me a call at 978-952-2325 and we'll get it all set up for you. The participants in the parade will gather at Donlands Supermarket in their parking lot at 9 o'clock that morning, and the parade will step off promptly at 9:30. We will be going to all of the, besides the Common, we'll be going to all the memorials of veterans in town, and we'll be ending up at the West Lawn Cemetery for the final salute. I encourage all Littleton residents to come out for the parade. If you can march, we would like you to march with us. If you cannot, at least cheer on the people in the parade, and also come to help us honor those veterans who are no longer with us. Thank you.
Stay with us for our guest this month, Suzanne McCullough, registered dietitian with Neshoba Nursing Services and Hospice. You may have osteoporosis, or maybe not. Do you really know what it is or what to do when you find out you have it? You don't have to be short or tall, large or small, stand straight or arched, or now we learn, very old. Today we're going to talk about osteoporosis and what you can do to possibly prevent it or at least keep it from getting worse. Today's guest is Suzanne McCullough, and Susan is a registered dietitian with Neshoba Nursing Services and Hospice. Welcome.
Hi, Barbara. Thanks for having me.
Well, I have so many questions because it seems like every time I have a guest, for some reason, I have what they're talking about, or someone in my family had what they're talking about. And so it becomes like a curiosity even for me. And that's why I want other people to hear what they can do. So tell me, does osteoporosis only affect older people?
Surprisingly, no. That's usually when we first will see it is in elders, but recently studies have shown that people who are in their teens, kids who are in gymnastics will fall down, they go to the ER, they get an x-ray, and they find that they have the stress fracture, and if they do a bone density, they have a low bone density mass. So they don't have osteoporosis at that age, but they have low bone mass, and that's the age when you should actually be accumulating bone. And the thing of it is that you go through a period of life between 9 to 18 is what we have a growth spurt, and you really need to kind of be making what we call calcium deposits. They're kind of like a savings deposit, but you need to be making the calcium deposits to your bone. Because that's the time when you want to make your bones really, really strong, because by the time you're 30, it's you have your peak bone mass, and after that, you start to lose. So if you don't have good deposits early on, when you get to 30, you're not going to really have anything to go on. And if we look at bone, and I'm going to compare it to a piece of wood,
Okay.
but this wood is nice and strong. It's pretty hard for me to break, okay? And when you look at somebody who does not have osteoporosis, their bones are just like this. They're strong. If you fall, you're not necessarily going to break it. Someone who has osteoporosis, where maybe there hasn't been enough calcium, what happens to the bone? I know this is a piece of shredded wheat, but this is what an osteoporotic bone looks like. Scary.
Yeah.
It's fine. It kind of has like holes in it, so it's not as strong. And what happens when we go like this? It breaks easier. So what we want to try to do is to prevent this from happening. And bone health starts at a really early age. It's not, and they call osteoporosis a silent disease because you can't feel it until you've fallen down and you've broken a bone, and they do an x-ray and they see that all your bones are very, very thin. But you can reverse it. But today I thought what we could focus on is how to prevent it, and especially looking at adolescents and children, because this is really all where bone health starts.
Yeah, you know, I was thinking about that and how sometimes when you're young, a child, you might have an illness and you don't eat the way you should, or maybe sometimes your parents don't give you the things that you really need. So in a sense, I feel like it isn't your fault. You know, it's what do you do if when you were a child your bones weren't getting the nutrition that they should, and so now all of a sudden you find out that you have osteoporosis. I you know, never knew that. I mean, I just found out I had it, and I thought, this has to be wrong because I'm active and you know, I lift and feel like I eat well, but I do know that when I was now I know because of you,
Right.
that when I was very small, I was ill. I did not eat well because I just couldn't, and maybe that's what contributed to it.
That could definitely be a factor, because it's those years, the peak years between 9 to 18, where you're really making major depositions, and all the way up until you're 30. And then after that, again, like what I said, you tend to lose bone, and women especially, because our estrogen, our hormonal, makes a difference for that. And there's 3 things that really will help promote optimum bone health: getting enough calcium in your diet, getting in enough vitamin D, and also making sure that we're doing weight-bearing exercise. And it's interesting that you brought up when you were a child you didn't get enough in it because of illness, but a lot of children today don't get it enough because of society changes. If you think of the way we are as a society with food consumption, especially beverages, the soda consumption in our country is very high.
Right.
And between 20 to 50% of the children in this country do not get in adequate calcium and vitamin D. And the reason why they don't get enough calcium is because we are not a milk drinking society anymore. What we've done is we've substituted soda for milk.
Right.
And milk is a very large contributor of calcium. 1 glass of milk has about 300 milligrams of calcium in it. And when you replace it with soda, you're not getting the calcium. And in addition to that, soda also has phosphoric acid. And the acid from that does not help the calcium that you eat to be absorbed in your body. So it's kind of like a 2-point negative on that.
Well, you know what I think, why they stopped drinking milk is because I have a teenage granddaughter.
Right.
They think it's going to make them fat. And I don't know why they don't think, like she happens to like this diet soda, not diet, vitamin soda.
Vitamin water.
Water or whatever, you know.
Powerade, all those
She thinks that it's good for you. And I keep thinking, what are you really getting out of that? And have skim milk or...
Right. And that's a good point you brought up, because people do think of milk, they look at it, it's not clear, so they think, oh, it has to be heavy with calories.
Right.
And there's 3 different kinds of milk. There's whole milk, there's 2 low fats, and then there's skim. And a 12-ounce can of soda has about 120 calories in it, okay? And that's regular soda. Now, if you compare that to an 8-ounce glass of skim milk, skim milk has only 90 calories, and low fat has 110. So calorie-wise, you're just about the same, okay? And in addition
getting
to that,
something better in
right? But the thing is that you are getting something better. You're getting something a lot better. You're getting protein from the milk. You're getting calcium that you need for your bones, and then most milk is fortified with vitamin D. So you're getting those 3 things. So it's a good choice. And some people say, well, gee, you know, my kid only likes chocolate milk, but I didn't think chocolate milk was as good to drink as, you know, white milk. But chocolate milk is fine. And strawberry milk, any flavored milk is fine. In fact, some people have moved away from milk and they've gone to soy milk. Soy milk is also a very good source of calcium and protein. And it's an excellent substitute, and it's far superior to any kind of soda. So soy milk is also a good choice.
Yeah.
And today, if you're not drinking milk, there's also other beverages. In fact, orange juice is fortified now with calcium and vitamin D. You can find that in a grocery store.
See, this is what bothered me, I think. All of a sudden, I'm seeing calcium written on different juices or bottles, and I wonder, you know, I'll look at it and say, oh, do you mean it? Is this for real? Or are you just putting it there because all of a sudden you're saying we really need this? So hearing that they do have it, that makes me happier. I mean, I drink it, it's just that I go, am I really getting anything?
You know what, when you go in the grocery store, we have probably about 20 different kinds of orange juice to choose from.
Yeah.
You know, you can buy with calcium, pulp, no pulp,
Yep.
acid reduced. I mean, there's a whole variety, the whole gamut of different kinds of orange juice. And if you aren't a milk drinker, for various different reasons, but you do like orange juice, you can buy the orange juice fortified with calcium and vitamin B. And it's also a better choice than soda because, again, you're getting vitamin C, and you're getting other nutrients, micronutrients, that in soda you're not getting anything at all. So there are good choices out there. And I think when you think of the way we eat nutritionally, I mean, it all does start from when you're a kid, what you're exposed to, all those types of things.
But you know
makes a
what?
big
You're
difference.
not thinking about it, really. I mean, I never thought about my bones ever until they said I had a problem.
Right.
I mean, of course, you got so many other things that they tell you to watch out for.
Right.
You know, your bones are like, if I can stand up, my bones must be okay. You know what I mean? But I just never thought about it one way or the other. Now I watch people my age and I think, I can see it coming. They're going to have osteoporosis. And but I don't feel bad about it because I feel like there are medications and things, drinks and things you can do. I just started taking calcium with D.
Okay.
With Fosamax because I feel like, you know, I'm upset because my mother had bones that were like that piece of wood.
Right.
So I didn't inherit it, or because I was sick, I didn't get the full.
Well, there is when you look at the other causes of osteoporosis. I mean, genetics is a part of that too, and people who have a history of osteoporosis in their family, like their moms, their grandmothers. In my family, it's very strong on my mother's side of the family. My mother had it. My grandmother was 5'3", and she shrunk to 4'9", and she had that little dowager's hump. And she had hip fractures, and once she hit her wrist against the kitchen table, and she fractured her wrist. And my mom had it, although at a later age than my grandmother. And I was always a milk drinker when I was a kid. When I turned 40, I had an initial bone density, and I was surprised that I didn't have osteoporosis, but I had bone thinning, which is called osteopenia. And so I thought, geez, I know I'm a milk drinker, but then I looked at my family history, and that's a precondition. And so what I started to do was remember we talked about the 3 components to help promote bone health: adequate calcium, adequate vitamin D, and then the other item that's really important is doing weight-bearing exercise. So I wasn't really doing any weight-bearing exercise. Weight-bearing exercise is really, really important because what it does is it stimulates your bones to deposit calcium in them. So I started walking a couple miles 3 times a week. I started lifting weights, not big weights to get big biceps, but weights where you would stress your muscles and your bones. And I went back in a year, and my bone mass level was normal, so I was no longer osteopenic. So you can correct that, and that's before menopause. When you get into menopause, you have to be extra careful because you don't have any protective factor. The estrogen is kind of protecting your bones. Once you lose that, the first 5 years after menopause is when you're going to be most vulnerable, that's right, to lose your bone mass. So it's a continual process all the time. And when you think of young children today, I was just talking about doing walking and strengthening exercises. Think of what kids do today. They don't do as much walking. They're not outdoors as much because it's a safety issue. They don't walk to school anymore. Everybody goes on a school bus. The biggest occupation that a lot of kids have now is using their Nintendos, where the most active part of their body are their thumbs, the middle finger, manipulating that Nintendo or text messaging, that kind of stuff. So as a whole society, we're not as active, so we're not stimulating bone formation. And our skeleton our whole skeleton replaces itself almost every 10 years.
Really?
We go through a remodeling process.
Oh.
It's really, really interesting. So the bone that you had when you were 10 years old is not the same bone that you have when you're 20.
Yep.
And the reason for that is your bone is actually a living tissue. It has its own blood supply. And so if you suppose you have like a little stress fracture, if you fall and you hurt yourself, what's happening is that the calcium comes into your bone and repairs that. So it's always doing little repairs all the time, a continual process. And if you're not getting enough calcium, then what's happening to those bones? They're not being repaired. And that's why over a period of years, you become the shredded wheat. You become shredded wheat.
Oh dear.
Because you don't have enough, you have to check because you're not getting in enough of calcium to do that.
Yeah.
Okay. So the bone strengthening exercises, are what we call weight bearing exercises, are really important because it stimulates calcium to be deposited into your bones. And the other thing is that you do need to take in enough vitamin D too. Like, I know you told me you're taking Fosamax, and you told me you're taking a calcium supplement and vitamin D, which is great because you need all those things together to work in harmony. Mm-hmm. Vitamin D, that people say, oh, that you get that from the sunshine, and that's true generally speaking. But up here in New England, we don't get as much sun as we do in other parts of the country. So from, I would say, late fall until early spring, we are not in the zone to get adequate sunshine to help create vitamin D. Our bodies actually make vitamin D from having sun come down on our bodies. So you really need to be making sure that you're getting fortified foods with vitamin D. And the other thing is that during the summertime, we usually aren't having as much sun exposure for a couple reasons. Skin cancer.
Right.
So people don't stay out in the sun as much, which is good. And the other thing is that we use a lot more sunblock. So when you put sunblock on, it helps us prevent us getting those melanomas, but also we don't get enough vitamin. We don't get any enough vitamin D. We're not able to generate that.
So this is it's like, how do you balance everything?
Right. So it is a balance, and you don't realize all the different things that are involved.
Right.
So what we try to give as a general guideline in the summertime is, especially with kids and adults, is that it's important to use your sunblock, but try to get 20 minutes of exposure without any sunblock on. And basically all you need is 20 minutes a day of sun exposure to help stimulate enough vitamin D synthesis in your body. So
it's funny because driving home after we talked a few days ago, I saw a woman sitting out in her yard. And it was a chilly day. It was really chilly, and she was kind of dressed up, but she was, exposed around the face and the hands. Right. And I thought, oh, well, there's somebody trying to get her D. Maybe she's getting a little 20 minutes in to get
The
her
other
D.
thing too is that as we grow older, we don't synthesize vitamin D as we did when we were younger. So when we get to be 70 plus, it's harder for us to be able to synthesize that. So that's another reason why vitamin D we don't find it in any foods naturally occurring, but a lot of foods have it fortified or added to them. Like is what I was saying, like the orange juice. Any of your dairy products usually have vitamin D added to them. Your cottage cheeses, all those have vitamin D in them.
Yeah. See, there you go. Don't eat a lot of cheese. Don't drink a lot of milk. You will have cholesterol.
It's all the type of cheeses. You know what kind of cheese I brought? It's a 50% reduced fat. Now, Cabot makes this, but it's delicious tasting, and you would not know the difference in flavor. And this is also good. Some people say, oh, that low-fat cheese, that's horrible in cooking. You can't really cook with it. It breaks up. But this I've used, and you don't have that issue. Okay. So, can't use cheese as an excuse anymore, Barbara, okay? And there's also, yogurt is also a really good choice. Yeah. There's all different kinds of yogurt that you can have. The low-fat yogurts are great to have, and there's low-fat cottage cheeses. So you do have a choice there. Now, some of the dark green leafy vegetables, like kale, will have some calcium in them, but they're not as easily absorbed by our body.
Uh-huh.
So although that they have some calcium in them, it's harder for us to get to them, you know. So you might take in a vegetable that might have, say, like 50 milligrams of calcium in it, but you maybe get 20 milligrams out of it. So. And the reason why vitamin D is important is because without vitamin D, we can't absorb the calcium from the foods we eat. So you could be taking in a high calcium diet, but if you're not taking in enough vitamin D, your body, it's kind of like the key for your body to be able to use the calcium. So,
but if you're 70 and over,
right.
You can keep it at bay, right? I mean,
definitely
maybe
keep it
you
at bay.
can't do it all over again,
Right.
but you can.
You can definitely keep it at bay. You can definitely keep it at bay, and you can definitely even reverse some of that loss.
Okay.
Some people are able to do that. And the thing is that the earlier you catch it, the better the likelihood of you're going to be able to do that. When you catch osteoporosis and it's what I call full shredded wheat stage, it's much harder to reverse it, but you can definitely help to keep it at bay. And some people, I know you told me you're taking Fosamax. Some people think, you know, if they're taking Boniva or Fosamax, and there's a couple other meds out there that you can use, that they think, well, that's it, I'm taking my Fosamax, I don't need to take calcium or anything else. But guess what? If you don't take in adequate foods and calcium and vitamin D, the Fosamax is not going to work. So you need to take those in to get the maximum benefit from the Fosamax. So it doesn't work by itself, unfortunately.
I just can't believe it. You know, like I said, of course we're hearing more and more about osteoporosis, and isn't May osteoporosis month or something?
May is osteoporosis month.
And so, you know, you want to be aware of it, but how do you convince children, you know, as a grandparent or a mother, you're saying now, we have to start now because your bones are going to be, and they're like, yeah, I'm busy, I'm on the phone. You know what I mean? Or give me the chocolate cookie, you know? And again, since I talked to you, I've been talking to my granddaughter and saying, oh, you need to eat this and you need to do that. And it's like, okay, Grandma.
Well, it's part of it. I think what's happening is that people are realizing more that it is important, and there's an effort in the schools. Most schools, in fact, all the schools have gotten rid of having sodas, and they're having juices, and they offer different flavors of milk, and they offer yogurt. So most of the school lunches are very health promoting.
Okay.
But again, it's what happens after school when you go home. You know, so many people are on the run. They got to take their kid to soccer, then they have music lesson, then they have dance, and they have something else. And what do people do? They go to the fast food restaurants, and what do they get? They got a Big Mac.
Yeah.
They got fries.
Yeah.
And they got a soda.
Well, do you think, is it enough to probably have a glass of orange juice in the morning and a glass of milk during the day, every day, for a young
You have to think
person?
of what the age group is, because your calcium needs do vary with your age. If you're 9 to 18, you need to get in 1,300 milligrams of calcium a day, and that's fairly easy. If you take 3 glasses of milk a day, and that's about 300 milligrams each, that's about 900 milligrams there. And then if you say you have cheese and crackers, it's like about another 200. And then if you take in some yogurt, that's like another 300, depending on the size of the container. But that you're meeting your 1,300 milligrams in. But if you do those things consciously, you can get that in. Or even if you have cereal and milk in the morning, that's a half a cup of milk, right? That's 150 milligrams. And when you're an adult, it's about 1,000 milligrams up until you're 50. And then it's when you get to be 51 plus that then you got to kind of have that, you're not going to have a growth spurt, but you're going to have a little bone density spurt there. So you need to get in 1,200 to 1,500 because you're going to be not having that protective factor of estrogen. And men will say, oh, you know what? That's a woman's disease. I don't have to worry about osteoporosis. I'm a guy. That's a woman's disease. And Men do get osteoporosis. It's about 10 years later for them than it is for women because of hormonal differences. But it does affect men.
Yep, I believe it because, and it's 10 years after I found out I had mine that my husband found out yesterday that he's got, I don't think he has osteoporosis, but he has
osteopenia.
Yeah.
Bone thinning, yeah.
So he was like, I can't believe it.
Right.
You know, this isn't true.
Right. And see, that's great that he caught it early then.
Yeah.
Because when you catch it at that stage, you can really help to reverse it just by doing those different things that we spoke about.
Yeah, well, right away, I saw him last night eating an orange, you know, and he had cereal this morning, so, but he needs to quit smoking. And so I think that's another thing, that factor that probably contributes too. So, yeah, well, I'm glad that you came, and I'm thinking that maybe, even if my granddaughter is the only one that listens to this, I'm really realizing how important it is to start that young to take care of your calcium and your bones, and just think about it, you know. And it doesn't hurt.
Right.
It's not, we're not telling them anything that's going to hurt or take time.
No.
You know, some of them are on the track, great. You're running, make sure you have your milk and your orange juice and your...
They've even repackaged, even if you go to McDonald's now, they've repackaged their milks into bottles that kind of look kind of glitzy, so that it's like, oh, I gotta drink my milk. They've tried to make it, you know, instead of having the little carton that you have to open up, they've made them now so they're kind of bottles, so you can open them up pretty easy. You can chug those if you want to.
Oh, that's a good idea. I guess the only thing about that is making sure that it stays cold, right? Because you don't want to drink sour milk either.
Right.
But I think that's why they drink the water and the juice and the sodas. Because even if you love milk, you can't carry it around with you, because it will go sour if you carry it too long.
After a couple hours, if you don't, but you know, you can still, if you have it really cold in the refrigerator, and you know, you can still have it. I think it's the name of it too. Like if you think of Powerade, I mean, it just sounds like, oh, gee, I'm going to get all this
energy,
muscle power, energy if I have that, you know. And when you think of the name milk, it's like, milk is that. You know, so that's
all it does is make a mustache on somebody's picture.
So, but I mean, it's something that, again, it comes from the home, it's the school, the home, society, it's everything. And it's a quality of life when you're older, because if you have a fracture, if you have a hip fracture, and you're 75 plus, it affects your independence.
Of course.
And most people want to be as independent as possible.
Right.
So maintaining your bones is really keeping you that quality of life that everybody wants to have.
Yeah. Well, I thank you so much for coming today and telling us all this. I was enthused when I talked to you the other day. So I'm hoping that people listened, and I hope that they eat those greens. Take D, or do some gardening to get some sun and some exercise.
There you go. Now we're into spring, so thanks again for having me, Barbara.
And, you know, take a 20-minute walk, get up, get active, and work those bones, and enjoy a healthy life. And until next time, don't forget to hug a senior. You want to go for donuts? I'm only kidding.